the world's greatest magician, the one, the only,
Max Galactica. Performer should aim for the world. Who does he think he is?
Are you 100% sure about your testimony today?
I saw what I saw, I swear! That creep just flew through the air?
To the murderer? I have conclusive evidence of what took place. Meet me at 10 p.m. tonight at the Lodging House Plaza.
Regina's so cute! She's truly a princess.
Truly a princess? Are you sure that's a good thing?
When Leon died, I talked with my dad and he told me that when someone dies, they just become a star in the heavens. I'd say it was about 5 days ago when all of a sudden, the bus disappeared.
Edgeworth was never quite the same after that case. And then, with the case after that one, he never set foot in court again.
It's your fault he is gone. It's the truth, isn't it, Mr. Phoenix Wright?
Hello and welcome back. This is Queen 3210 and we are about to enter part 1 of the next trial. So we've learned a few things. It looks like Acro seems to be our main suspect at this case, having done some reflection. I'm not 100% convinced by this, but we shall see as the trial reveals more and puts all the pieces together. But yeah, it's tragic all around, and yeah, I've got nothing else to say really, so let's get to it. December 30th, 9:41 a.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby number 5.
Good morning, Max!
Oh, yeah. Good morning, sweeties.
You don't seem like your usually sparkling self today.
I'm always like this before I go out in front of an audience. I'm working up to it.
Don't get nervous, Maxie. Here, have a glass of milk. Regina!
How fabulous! My sweetie pie! My sweetie pie princess! You came to watch my performance today.
Of course I did! Mo told me that I should come and watch this.
Mo said that? Ooh, I wonder if Mo's actually the mastermind. That'd be something. That'd be a twist.
So, what kind of performance will you put on today? And let me guess, you'll fly at the end?
It's not that kind of a show. Isn't that right, my sweeties?
Huh?
I think my sweetie pie princess doesn't.
Yeah, she doesn't seem to realize what's going on, or even where she is.
Well, Max, it looks like it's time to raise the curtain. I'll see you later. Today, I'm just a member of the audience.
Fabulous! Enjoy yourself out there.
Good luck, Max. You're the best. Regina's different, don't you think, Nick? Top of the morning to ya. Everybody, let's get ready to get stuck in legal limbo. How low can you go?
Mo!
Top of the morning to you, governor.
Top of the morning?
That's the ticket. Attacking the day starts with energy in the morning. That early bird gets the worm, but then again, worms lack higher brain function. Here, Max, brought you a present. Have some milk.
Oh my! Thanks.
So, how are you today, right?
Well, I've got the feeling that today I'm going to face up against the real culprit.
You mean Acro? Huh? You think he did it?
Be careful.
He's used to putting his life on the line. Literally. He's got guts to spare.
All I've got to worry about is how thin the tightrope is. I'm used to it already. It just means that I won't be able to press them like I can other witnesses.
What are you gonna do then, Nick?
Guess today we'll just have to do without our usual psychological warfare. Today, we'll rely on the evidence. It's the only way we'll get past Acro and to the truth.
You're right. That's gonna be tough. Anyways, I want you to make sure that Regina sees it all today. It's important. Then she'll finally have to deal with the reality of what happened to her father. You want us to make sure Regina watches? Yeah, that's why I brought her here to court today.
What's that supposed to mean?
So, Mo wants her to learn the consequences of her actions?
She needs to know that when people die, they don't just become stars. Maybe an old-fashioned clown, but I don't believe in people becoming stars.
Basically, she needs to grow up. December 30th, 10 a.m., District Court, courtroom number 2.
Court is now in session for the trial of Maximillion Galactica.
The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is ready, Your Honor.
Very well. Miss Von Karma, you may proceed with your case.
The prosecution would like to revise its previous theory of events.
What's the meaning of this?
We have discovered a new witness, or shall I say, a new eyewitness. One that saw Maximillion Galactica fly off from the scene of the crime.
Order! Order! I had a feeling something like this would come up.
Due to this revision, we are now prepared to explain how the defendant flew that night. An explanation the prosecution will present if the need so arises. In fact, my detective stayed up all night creating a mock-up of the scene on my orders.
Poor gumshoe.
Very well. Please call your witness to the stand.
Time to get to work. Or shall I say, time to walk the courtroom tightrope. Oh, that's kind of sweet.
Name and occupation.
Ken Dingling, but everyone calls me Acro. I'm employed as an acrobat at the Berry Big Circus.
Where were you the night of the crime?
I was in my room that night.
If you look at the map, you will see the eyewitness's room is near the crime scene.
My room's on the 3rd floor. The crime scene's below my window.
The night of the crime, the witness saw something quite shocking. Would you tell us what you witnessed?
Okay. Here we go. It was just after 10 p.m., and I was resting in my bed. Around that time, I heard a large thump noise from outside the window. Then, a few moments later, I saw someone flying right past my window. It was Max Galactica. I only saw him from behind, but that's who it looked like. To be honest, when I saw that, I thought I was dreaming.
This witness's testimony matches up exactly with that of the clowns.
If that's the case, there is very little the prosecution need add. All that's left is to explain how the defendant disappeared into the sky that night.
Before we get that far, I'd like to cross-examine the witness.
A foolish choice by a foolish man who wishes to feel the foolish sadness of a sad fool. A man must know the proper timing for things, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Just like your old friend, Mr. Miles Edgeworth did.
She's trying to trip me up, and I'm not liking this.
Mr. Wright, do you have a problem with the witness's testimony?
In the words of Miss Von Karma, may I quote yesterday's proceedings? There's no way that actually happened.
Very well. You may proceed with your cross-examination.
It was just after 10 p.m. and I was resting in my bed. You said that you were resting in bed. One would thus assume that you turned the lights off in your room, correct? That's correct. But there are safety lights around the outside of the lodging house. It's so bright, sometimes it can make it hard to sleep.
If that's the case, wouldn't it be a good idea to close some curtains?
Does not answer. I never really thought of that. I guess that means I'm off to buy some new curtains.
Ha ha ha! Sometimes I do make myself useful in these chambers.
Oh! The witness will proceed with his testimony. Around that time, I heard a large thump noise from outside the window. Your room is on the 3rd floor, right?
Yes.
And you said that you were resting in bed.
That is correct.
But you were still able to hear a sound from outside?
I was indeed.
Pressing acro doesn't seem to get results. But maybe something was contradictory in what he said just now. There's a huge contradiction in the testimony that was just given. Oh, okay, that was the wrong answer. If there is a contradiction, then prove it with evidence.
She's right. Let's see some evidence. Do you have any evidence to support your claim of a contradiction?
Nope. Oh, it actually wants me to. Okay, fine. Well, I'm getting penalized. Because I fucked up.
What in the world is this?
Oh! You just don't get it, do you, Mr. Phoenix Wright? Well, what don't I get? You're not going to be able to get through this one with your usual bluff routine. Your client looks to be ready to take off once again. Straight towards a guilty verdict.
You were bluffing? I will not forgive any more mockeries made of this court.
Whoops. Witness, would you mind repeating your testimony?
Certainly.
Around that time, I heard a huge thump noise from outside the window. Then, a few moments later, I saw someone flying right by my window. Are you sure it was a human being? It could have been a mannequin, or perhaps a large action figure. Well, setting aside the possibility of a mannequin, an action figure is plausible. You have no need to mince words with Mr. Phoenix Wright. Testify to the truth and only the truth, just as if we were there with you that night.
I believe it was a human.
Damn. I just strengthened his testimony. Wonder if Acro's statement jives with the facts. No, there's nothing wrong here.
What's the matter, Mr. Wright?
Nothing, Your Honor. Until I can find a clear contradiction. I should tread lightly.
She looks somewhat disappointed.
It was Max Galactica. I only saw him from behind, but that's who it looked like. The light in your room was turned off then, right?
That's true. I was going to bed after all.
So with the lights off, you were still able to clearly see a human fly by your window?
The safety lights lit things up enough for me to see. But honestly, there was only enough light for me to see the silhouette outside my window. It was the person's back, so I couldn't see the white roses on the front. Did you see any of the other symbols?
I clearly saw the silk hat, as well as the cloak wrapped around his body. And there is our contradiction. I'm convinced that the person I saw was Max Galactica. The more I press him, the less results I seem to get. But maybe there was something fishy about his latest bit of testimony.
Yes, there was.
There is a huge contradiction with the testimony that was just given. If there is a contradiction, then prove it with evidence.
She's right. Let's see some evidence. Do you have any evidence to support your claim of a contradiction?
You claim to have seen the exact same thing Mo saw that night. Do you stand by that?
What do you mean?
The silk hat.
What about the silk hat? I saw it on Max's head as he flew by my window.
Well,
You should have tried looking down out of your window that night. That would have been quite difficult considering the state that I'm in. Just looking outside of the window was tough enough. It was a tough enough challenge for me. That's a shame, because you would have noticed the silk hat found on the scene. That's the ringmaster's hat, right? Afraid not. No matter how you look at it, this is Max's silk hat. Where are you going with this, Mr. Wright? Are you saying that Max has 2 silk hats? No. This is a handmade, one-of-a-kind model made only for Maximillion Galactica. Which means, Acro, that you've been fibbing on the stand. Order! Order!
As always, it looks like someone just had to open their mouth before speaking. Are you okay, Nick?
Well, I opened my big mouth and now I have to back it up. How about it, Mr. Wright? What would cause this witness to commit perjury in this court? Simple. He's the real culprit. Your Honor. On this occasion, the defense accuses Acro himself.
On this occasion?
Accuses Acro? What in the world are you accusing him of? Obviously, we accuse him of the murder of Mr. Russell Berry. Mr. Wright, are you serious? Deadly serious, Your Honor.
Ha ha ha. I think your trips to the circus have served you well. You seem to have learned how to try and grab an attention's heart and mind. Your Honor, don't allow yourself to be swayed by theatrics. Trying to wow the crowd with smoke and mirrors is the oldest bluff in the book.
But really?
If you don't believe me, just look at the witness. He's calm enough for it to almost be scary.
He is staying rather calm and collected. Mr. Dingling, do you have any response to the defense's accusation? I don't really need to say a thing now, do I? What do you mean? Everyone, take a good look at me. I can't even stand up by myself, let alone leave the lodging house. That is true. I understand that Mr. Wright's just trying to help his client. But to do this by accusing me of a murder of all things...
See? Even a sliver of common sense makes it clear the accusation is ludicrous.
She's right. Way to pick on the disabled, you heartless, cruel man. Phoenix is a poopy head.
Phoenix is a poopy head! See that, Mr. Phoenix Wright? If you're trying to drum up support from the peanut gallery, that's how you do it.
Ugh.
I think that's enough of this little game. I've got a doctor's note to confirm that Acro is unable to stand under his own power. Maybe the defense is planning on making a claim to counter this as well. I can hear the defense now. Acro had an accomplice.
What do you say about this, Mr. Wright? Did Acro have an accomplice?
Nope. Now then, this must be when we get to hear the name of the mystery accomplice.
Now this time, Von Karma.
What?
You're not gonna sucker me into this one. What are you blabbering about, Mr. Wright? There was no accomplice. Acro planned and committed this murder all by himself. Order! Order! What are you getting at?
Way to keep them on their toes, Nick.
Now I'm gonna have to prove how it all fits together. I have to show how Acro murdered Russell Berry.
Can you do it, Nick? Can you really do that?
I know what I can't do. I can't stop now. If I stop attacking, I'm doomed.
All right, then let's do it. Mr. Phoenix Wright. If this witness is the killer, then his eyewitness accounts is all lies, right?
Mr. Wright, I'd like you to clear something up for me. When the crime was committed, exactly where was Mr. Dingling? He was on the 3rd floor. He was obviously here the entire time. That's Acro's room? Pretty simple, huh? Acro wasn't able to leave the lodging house by himself. In that case, there can be only one correct answer. Acro didn't leave his room to kill the ringmaster.
What? Are you nuts?
What say you, Mr. Dingling? It's an interesting theory. That's it? Considering what you proposed isn't possible, yeah, that's it. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor. As the witness has stated, your assertion is impossible. As he is in a wheelchair, there is no way he could go to the scene or be the killer. You've got a point. Oh, I think I just caught on to Ace's track. Holy fuck. The missing bust. Acro had it somehow. And that's what killed Barry! He dropped it out the window! Oh my god! Okay, let's see if I'm right though. Let's see if I'm right.
Seems you've forgotten once again, Mr. Phoenix Wright. The defense was clearly spotted at the scene of the crime. That's true. Mo said that he saw Max, didn't he?
But if it was just the cape But Maya, it's still impossible for humans to fly. Do you mind if I ask you a question, Mr. Wright? What is it? I understand some of your logic. However, how do you think that I killed him? If I can't leave my room, I obviously couldn't wear Max's costume. No, you didn't have to. You could just draw it up with a string. How did he do it? That's the next course of this legal buffet.
Be careful, Nick. If you mess up here...
She's right. I can't mess up here. I've got to give this one some serious thought. I'm sure that Acro killed a ringmaster. And he did it while he was in his room, no doubt about that. Time to enlighten us as to how Mr. Dingling committed the crime, Mr. Wright. I'm going to present some evidence. So what did Mr. Dingling use to commit the crime of murder against Russell Barry? What's that? A picture? It is indeed. The problem is that the item that's shown in the picture. The bust? It's quite a large bust. And because it is life-size, it is also very, very heavy.
Heavy?
Heavy enough to guarantee a certain death. Especially if it was dropped from a third-story window.
Ah!
See? This is how Acro was able to kill the ringmaster. With the force of gravity and Maximillion Galactica's ample bust. Order! So you're saying the bust fell onto the ringmaster? A rather simple crime. Even if you were stuck in a wheelchair, it'd be incredibly easy to commit.
How could you possibly wheel a wheelchair with something so heavy? It's impossible!
Well, Acro is an acrobat. Plus, if he doesn't even need to be an acrobat. He puts it on his lap, and then he wheels himself to the window. And then he picks it up and drops it, wheels himself back over to the bed, and then gets back in bed. Like, you don't even need to be an acrobat for that. He should have more than enough upper body strength to carry something like that bust. Mr. Dingling, how do you respond to these charges? Well?
Hacker's at a loss for words!
He should be. He knows that I'm getting close to the truth. Well, Acro, you can't run away. Ow!
I'd watch what I say if I were you, Mr. Phoenix Wright.
What?
Your Honor, the physical health of the witness is material to this case. I demand that we get proper testimony from the witness himself.
Testimony, you say? on karma. She's just using this testimony as a ruse to stall for time. There is absolutely no need for such testimony.
The defense has its version of the murder. The prosecution has the right to respond.
The defense's objection is overruled.
Why can't he see things my way once in a while?
Mr. Dingling, I'm sorry, but we need you to testify about your physical condition. If you have any doubts about your ability to testify, we can request expert testimony.
The witness will have no problems. However, let's all be respectful towards him.
Thank you. That woman will sink to any low to win a case. I suppose I could have lifted something the size of that bust. I have strong upper body from working as an acrobat, and only my legs were injured. But lifting the bust and looking out the window would have been impossible. There's no way I could have exerted that kind of force on my lower body. That makes it impossible for me to have known the location of the ringmaster's head. Thus, it would have been unrealistic for me to drop the bust on him, don't you think? I have no doubts in regard to this witness's testimony.
It was impossible for him to lift the bust and stick himself out far enough to look. Not to mention that he could not have known the location of the ringmaster's head.
The note?
A single false step would have led to even more severe injuries.
That's what I was thinking. What's your opinion on the matter, Mr. Wright? I'd still like to proceed with my cross-examination.
He's simply stalling. It's shameful, really. Look who's fucking talking.
I can't let her get to me. I've got to focus. I suppose I could have listed something the size of that bust. I have a strong upper body from working as an acrobat, and only my legs were injured. However, lifting the bust and looking out the window would have been impossible. And why is that? Because if I were to do that, I'd end up falling out the window myself. I still haven't gotten much feeling back in my legs yet. So you couldn't have thrown that bust out the window? There's no way that I could have exerted that kind of force on my lower body. That makes it impossible for me to have known the location of the ringmaster's head. I beg to differ. Oh, shit. Nope. Oh, exactly. Oh, these evidence and the statement just now related. Oh, shit. They aren't, are they? Not at all. Mr. Wright, please think the facts over before making accusations. That was the crime scene photo I needed, right? Or, you know what, I could do the box. Acro. You didn't really need to lean out the window, did you? What are you driving at, Mr. Wright? You already knew ahead of time where the ringmaster's head was going to be. Quite precisely, I might add.
Your silly hinting at things is pointless, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Enough stalling! How about you show us some evidence?
But I did such a good job at hinting. Yes, hurry up and explain things, Mr. Wright. Maybe you should take a look at this. The key point here is the wooden box. The same wooden box that the victim was found hunched over. The same wooden box that the victim was found hunched over? The same. The question is, who placed the wooden box here? Who? When Ben and company saw the ringmaster, they didn't see him holding the box. Which means that this wooden box was already placed at the scene of the crime. I have to admit that your theory makes a lot of sense. The moment that the bust came falling down, was exactly the same moment that the ringmaster lifted up this wooden box.
Which means that the answer to all these questions is now crystal clear.
You mean... If the boss were to fall upon the point marked out by the wooden box,
there would be no way that it could miss the head of the victim.
No! Order! This is unbelievable!
Finally, some of these loose ends are starting to tie themselves up. Now I just have to keep going, and there's only one way to go from here. Forward.
So the next question I have is, who placed that wooden box at the scene?
It was Mr. Dingling, of course. He connected it to a rope, and then all he had to do was lower it down. Ow! Allow me to whip some sense into you. Mr. Phoenix Wright! Ow! The ringmaster's head could have been anywhere when he lifted the box. That's why the box was so specifically made. Specially made? Indeed. It had the most peculiar feature. The weight of the box? The box has a remarkable weight. Weight?
According to the court record, it weighs about 20 pounds.
Just to lift up this wooden box would have required...
Oh, I see. One would have to squat down, then lift it up with their body, wouldn't they?
That's exactly what I was trying to point out. The box is also very large.
The box also has the carrying handles on either side now, doesn't it?
That is correct. To lift up the box, you'd have to squat down. Which means that no matter who you are, your head would be in approximately the same place. Fool! And he does not seem faded at all. Does he even bother to listen to me anymore? I've heard what you've had to say. I must admit, I'm shocked at your imaginative skills.
Did you do it? Did you place this wooden box in the plaza?
Mr. Wright may have a vivid imagination, but I could never have done what he's proposing. What? Mr. Wright, do you recall the original location of Max's bust? Of course I remember. It was on top of the table in the cafeteria.
Then what happened to it?
I'd like you to remember one important fact, Mr. Wright. I could not possibly leave the lodging house by myself. That means... You understand what I'm saying, don't you? I may very well have been able to drop the bus from my room. However, how would I have gotten the bus from the cafeteria to my room? Good question. You see, Mr. Phoenix Wright, explain that. Don't forget, you said there was no accomplice. Ugh. Tell us exactly how the witness would have carried the bust from the cafeteria. Yep. We definitely have a problem here. But this is no place to get perplexed. I've got to get my wits about me and prove how things happened once and for all.
All right, Mr. Wright. Let's hear your explanation. How did the witness get the bus from the cafeteria back to his room?
There's only really one way that makes sense to me, but even then, I'm not 100% convinced. But we'll try it anyway. Worst case scenario is I get a penalty and then I just look up the answer because I don't know.
Monkey?
Oh, it looks like I got it right. Everyone knows money. He loves shiny objects of any size.
Oh, like when he stole the ventriloquist's ring.
So, are you saying the witness had a monkey steal the bust? Of course he didn't order the monkey to steal it. The monkey stole it on his own, and then brought it back home. Oh!
Home?
Money lives in Acro's room.
Acro's room?
But the bust
was bronze, wasn't it? Bronze isn't all that shiny.
Maybe you should put the whip down sometimes and read the court record. Boy, those are some very nice cards he's holding. Yes, and they are made of platinum, which is very shiny.
Ah!
Acro? Money is a strong monkey, right? It'd be easy for him to bring the bus back to your room. If he wasn't able to handle that himself, I'd be on the market for a new roommate. Order! Order! I said order! Miss Moncava! Where is the bust in question at this moment?
I don't know. We're searching for it as we speak.
This is a rather strange turn of events. But let's say that the monkey had not stolen the bust. What would have happened then? Well, in that event, something else would have been used as a murder weapon.
Wait! Then you mean this bust was the murder weapon, but purely by accident?
It's possible. Maybe Acro saw Money's mountain of stolen goods and thought to use one of them. Yep. Anyway, I think we've more than proven one critical fact. Namely, that it was entirely possible that Acro was the killer. Moron! Mr. Wright's argument was so circular, I'm still a bit dizzy. However, his argument does hold water. There is no denying that. Ow!
Don't seem so bamboozled, especially by this fraud of an attorney. Fraud? You've forgotten the absolute most important thing, Mr. Phoenix Wright.
And what is that?
You should know. You forgot that your fraud of a magician client has spotted at the scene of the crime. Ah! There is no reason to doubt the clown's testimony.
That is true. How do you respond to that, Mr. Wright?
Nick, don't let her beat you now.
I won't. This is my chance to turn this trial around.
When the murder occurred, there were two people at the scene of the crime. One was the victim, Russell Barry, and the other was the murderer himself. Answer this and only this, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Who was the murderer the clown saw?
Oh. The bust? He saw Max's bust. Ow!
I asked who was the other person Mo saw at the scene. That evidence has nothing to do with the question.
Au contraire, mon frère. It does indeed have something to do with the question. Oh, wow. I got that right. I was just guessing. Mo said that he saw Max's silhouette. But he did not actually see the man himself. It wasn't a human being he saw. Well, how was that possible? It's simple, really. What Mo actually saw that night was Max's bust.
What are you talking about? Have you tried using your brain at all in this case? The silhouette we saw was wearing a cloak.
There's no reason why you couldn't attach a cloak to a bust. It would be easy to hang one off of the cards in the bust's hands.
Idiot! Who in their right mind would put a cloak on the bust?
It doesn't matter who put it on the bust. Just wait a minute now, Mr. Wright. Who put the cloak on the bust? That question is of the utmost importance to this case, don't you agree?
I would say it was the monkey.
Oh, he caught me. Well, let's have it, Mr. Wright. Who put the cloak on the bust?
Eventually.
There's only one other person that was there, so maybe... Nah, it's kind of crazy. I don't think so, but I'm gonna try it anyway.
Fool him?
You are saying it was the victim himself, Russell Barry?
That's what I'm saying.
The victim himself placed the cloak on the bust?
Place the cloak isn't really the right way of putting it.
Then what would be the right way of putting it, Mr. Wright?
Explain yourself. Nick, do you really have a handle on all of this?
I'm fine, Maya. I'm finally putting all the pieces together. There's really only one picture I can paint anyway. Alright. So you want to know what really happened that night? Let's take a step back. Acro used a rope to lower the wooden box onto the scene. Then, he attached that rope to the bust and dangled the bust out of his bedroom onto bedroom window directly above the wooden box. At the same time, the ringmaster told Max to wait in his room and went to the scene. Of course, at the time, the ringmaster was wearing Max's costume. Perhaps he didn't want anyone to recognize him that night. But just as he feared, he was spotted at the entrance of the lodging house by none other than the ventriloquist and his puppet, Ben and Trillo. When the ringmaster arrived at the scene, he bent over to lift the wooden box. And that's when Acro took his chance and released the rope. Now this is when the magic happens. At the very instant that the bust hit the victim. What?
You wait just a second there, Mr. Phoenix Wright. As much as you try, as much as you scheme, this just isn't true. It can't be.
It's still a little early to be getting so upset, Miss Montgomery. This circus isn't over yet.
What?
The impact of the bust on the victim threw the cloak up, which snagged onto the bust. That impact also caused the sound a certain witness heard, prompting him to take a look. That witness was, of course, Lawrence Mo Curls, the clown. When Mo looked out of his window, the cloak had already snagged onto the bust. Now, having completed the crime, Acro naturally went about pulling up the murder weapon. Of course, he had no idea that Mo saw the bust being raised with the cloak dangling on it. Primarily because in his wheelchair, he couldn't see out of his window. So he just kept pulling the bust up. And that caused the flying magician. And that is how the magical murderer is disappeared into the sky came to be. I have no words for this. Because if it really happened this way, then Acro is the luckiest fucking murderer ever. So you see, the only person who could have pulled this off is the one person who was able to drop the murder weapon from above this crime scene. Acro. It could only have been you. He does not seem to be worried.
Acro's been playing mind games with us all.
He sure has. But he has come to the end of his rope now. So, what now?
You've graced us with a rather long-winded tale. But do you have any evidence to prove that your fairy tale is real?
Evidence?
In this court, only two things matter. The power of evidence and the power of my whip.
No, only one thing matters. The evidence.
Don't forget the power of my gavel as well.
Okay, yeah, two. The whip doesn't matter. The gavel does.
Mr. Wright, the prosecution brings up a good point. Can we see some evidence?
Nick, they say they want evidence.
I just explained how there can only be one possible murder method, but there is still something unusual about Mo's eyewitness testimony.
Unusual?
A contradiction, actually.
Okay then, use that and get us out of the jam. Get out of this jam.
As enough talking amongst yourselves, proceed, Mr. Wright. Present some evidence to the court that backs up your claim. I want hard proof that you can unravel the trick to this magical case. The promo poster. Problem is Max's 3 symbols. You know, the silk hat, the cloak, and the white roses. Those symbols were a problem numerous times during yesterday's proceedings. Yesterday, there were 2 contradictions in Mo's testimony. The silk hat was one, and the white roses were the other. But the theory I just presented explains all of these contradictions.
You fool! Do you ever shut up?
Max's silk hat was found at the scene of the crime. However, remember what Mo said yesterday. He testified that the criminal he saw fleeing the scene was wearing a silk hat. There's only one explanation for that. The silk hat that Mo saw was actually the bust's. Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense. If you look at it that way, then he did see the silk hat. Well, sort of.
Fine, you've got me. But what about the other contradiction?
The other contradiction?
Remember what that ventriloquist said in court? He said that he witnessed white roses on Max's chest that night. But the clown's testimony doesn't match. The clown said that there were no white roses.
Well, yeah, because the cloak was facing away from him. The front of the cloak, rather, was facing away from Mo.
I'd like to see you try and explain that one away. Can you do it, Nick?
Of course. I can explain all of it.
What was that?
Please recall the instant when the cloak snagged onto the bust. If the cloak snagged onto the bust, what happened to the white roses? Yep. Do you get it? If the cloak got snagged on the front of the bust, it means that the white roses would end up on the back of the bust.
Ah!
Which explains why Mo didn't see them. The white roses were not visible because they were on the back side of the bust. Order! Order! This is quite the shocking state of affairs. Mr. Wright's theory still sounds a bit absurd to me. However, let's just keep going down this road for a while and see where it leads.
Let's do it, Nick! Then maybe Von Karma will finally throw in the towel.
Nope. Still got that shit-eating grin. And he's still calm as always.
Well, so much for that theory.
Mr. Wright, do you mind? What is it? You took the time to research our circus, didn't you? Well, yes, I did. Is there something making you think that I didn't? If you did, then maybe you'd understand why I think you're off track. Well, why is that?
Motive. This witness feels an incredible debt of gratitude towards the ringmaster. Anyone with any relation to the circus is well aware of this.
Yes, but he also holds a vendetta against his daughter, and he feels that the ringmaster coddled her.
Thus, there is absolutely no way someone like this would kill the ringmaster. Your Honor, I'd like you to hear Akro's story. Learn about his relationship with the ringmaster and his life until now. Well, what do we do? There's no doubting that Akro deeply respected the ringmaster.
Akro's motive. Seems that this case isn't over yet. Very well. However, I feel that this is a good place to take a break. I will listen to the rest of Mr. Dingling's testimony after the recess. This court will now take a 10-minute recess.
10 minutes later.
December 30th, 2:17 p.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 5.
I can't believe it. Acro?
It's pretty shocking, isn't it?
It definitely is. And to think he was always the most straightforward of the group. Jeebus! Am I that hated?
Acro tried to pin the murder on you on purpose.
He did? but I'm nothing but a little old nobody, you know?
But you're not. Which is kind of the reason why.
Hey, pal! You gonna ignore me after I went to all this trouble to bring you some evidence?
Ah! Detective Gumshoe!
Ah, forget it. I'm going home. This guy deserves to be guilty anyways. Now, detective. I'm sorry. Look, why don't you relax a little?
We got some really tasty milk!
How about a card trick, detective?
Ho, well, if you insist. Now, about that evidence you mentioned. What is it?
Here you go.
Huh? This was yesterday in Acro's room.
Yup, and I've included the forensic results. Take a look at it later.
Won't Miss Von Karma be mad at that you're doing this?
That's why this is all a secret. Huh? Look, details are on a need-to-know basis, and we're not really allies in any or nothing. But everything that's happening in court up until now has gone according to our plan.
I don't know. Miss Von Karma didn't seem in control of things in there just now.
You'll figure it out eventually, pal. Yesterday, our final plans were set in motion. Final plans? That reminds me. I got a message from the prosecutor for you. Nothing is ever truly decided until the very end. That's it. And that's it for me too, pal. I'm out of here.
What do you mean by that? The very end part.
I'm not sure. But it was all pretty cryptic to me.
Oh, and one more thing. Ah, don't scare me like that!
Looks like there's a large care package from the circus for the defendant. What? For me? It's milk. The reception area looks like some kind of a dairy. So hurry up and drink it all before it spoils. Oh my god. An entire dairy's full worth of milk? For me? December 30th, 2:27 p.m. District Court, Courtroom Number 2. Court is now back in session. Before we continue, though, I do want to take another look at that evidence that Gumshoe gave us. Bat's scarf stained with his blood and a small quantity of pepper. Huh. Okay. Miss Von Karma, please continue from where you left off.
I'd like to continue with Rakro's testimony, starting with his relationship to the victim. I'd also like to get proof from the defense. Proof of what kind of motive Akro would have to commit this crime.
Understood. Now, Mr. Dingling. Yes, Your Honor. Please proceed with your testimony.
Finally, we get to the motive. Wait, Nick, are you okay?
Just do me a favor and don't ask questions you don't want the answer to. When we were little, we were abandoned by our parents. That's when the ringmaster of the Berry Big Circus, Russell Berry, took us in. I became an acrobat at about 9 years old.
I wanted to find a way to repay the ringmaster. That was my sole purpose in life. You're such a thoughtful young man.
As you heard, the witness deeply respected the victim. I wonder how anyone could think that Acro would kill the man he held in such high esteem.
You are absolutely right. How could anyone think of that, Mr. Wright? Which is why there's no need for the cross-examination, now is there? Actually, that's the question I'm trying to answer myself. Why would Acro kill the ringmaster? This might be my last chance to answer that question. You know what? Because I don't really see a reason, I don't think we actually need to question him. Based on what we know, he's literally just explained everything and there wasn't really a contradiction, so I don't think we have any reason to question him. There's no need to examine this witness. What's that? Why was the ringmaster murdered? There's no need to delve into that bit of testimony when I know the answer already. Exactly. Mr. Wright, I'd like to ask you a question. Go ahead, Your Honor. I would just like to know, can you provide an explanation as to why Acro would want the ringmaster dead? Yep. Now that I've come this far, there's no way I could answer no, I can't. Oh, this is going to be good. Very well, then please enlighten the court. Let's see some evidence that proves Acro's motive for killing the ringmaster. Let me just go over this one more time. This is why Acro killed the ringmaster? That is correct.
I don't think the defense would mind confirming something for me. What exactly are we supposed to learn from this piece of evidence?
Oh, shit. What are you supposed to learn?
Looks like you just won the award for the biggest failure in court. Ouch. Biggest failure in court? That stings.
In recognition of your honor, let me bestow upon you my special prize. Give up on presenting things.
Nick?
Yeah, I didn't even have to think about it. It was obvious from the start. Your Honor, the reason that Acro killed the ringmaster is something that can't be proven. What? That's because Acro had no reason to kill the ringmaster at all.
Ow! Your foolish attempts to fool us like foolish fools is so foolhardily foolish. Did you forget? You made an accusation against this witness, did you not? I believe it was. This is the real killer of Russell Berry, ringmaster.
If you want to jump onto the end of things, then yeah, that sounds about right. The end of things? Acro. You didn't plan to kill the ringmaster at all, now did you? The ringmaster wasn't your target that night.
What did you just say?
Oh! So the plot thickens. I'm saying that the target of this witness's murderous plot was not the ringmaster. Because it was never his intention to kill Russell Berry to begin with.
What?
Oh wow, this is more direct than I thought. Order! Order! Bailiff, I don't care who it is, smack anyone who's loud in the face. Twice if you must. Mr. Wright, what in the world are you trying to do in my court?
Ow! Mr. Phoenix Wright, what in the world are you trying to do to his court? Are you attempting to imply that Acro was trying to kill someone else?
And there's only one person it could be.
Regina Berry?
This young girl is the ringmaster's daughter, correct? Acro, you were really aiming for her that night, weren't you? Ooh. Ooh, got him dead to rights there.
You don't need to answer that. It's a mean-spirited leading question.
He could easily answer this question. If I'm wrong, all he has to say is you're wrong. That's it.
That's it, huh, Mr. Phoenix Wright?
Enough! Mr. Phoenix Wright, allow me to... Ow!
The only thing allowed to interrupt me is death itself.
Oh?
And that goes for you too, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Show me evidence, now. I want to know why Acro would want to kill Regina Barry.
Yes, me too. I demand to see some proof. Present evidence that proves Acro was out to kill this young girl. The note. Acro, you remember this, don't you? It's a piece of paper that we found inside the ringmaster's tailcoat. Inside the victim's tailcoat? Acro wrote this note. It's ironically entitled, "To the Murderer." Its purpose was to call someone to the plaza at 10 p.m. Yeah, there we go. Makes sense. He believes that she killed his brother, or her actions led to her brother's death, therefore she's a murderer. Yep, that tracks. So you're saying that he called Russell Barry with that note? Yes, but there's just one little problem. Problem? Acro did indeed place this note in someone's pocket. However, that someone was not the ringmaster. You mean it wasn't for the... That's exactly what I mean. The person this note was intended for was none other than Regina Barry. Order! 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 Mr. Wright, this isn't a theory of yours. It's the truth, Your Honor. It isn't a theory. Simply put, Regina didn't think the note was meant for her. Which is why, the morning of the crime, she placed it on the cafeteria bulletin board.
So that's when her father, I mean the ringmaster, saw the note?
That's correct. The ringmaster ended up in the plaza instead of Regina. And he was killed because of that mistake. Instead of Regina. That's incredible! Remember the testimony that Acro gave us earlier today? Lifting the bust and looking out the window would have been impossible. There's no way I could have exerted that kind of force on my lower body. If I were to do that, I'd end up falling out of the window myself. Hence why he didn't realize that it was the ringmaster and not Regina that was down there. He would have aborted otherwise. Acro had no idea who it was that arrived in the plaza, because he couldn't look down out of his window to see who it actually was. I've got it! I've got it! Acro thought it was Regina down in the plaza! And that's when he let the bust fly.
Hey, Nick! Isn't Regina listening to all of this from the audience?
She is. Unfortunately, it's only gonna get harsher from here.
I hope Regina can handle it.
Acro wrote this note to Regina?
Objection! Foolishly foolish fool with foolishly foolish fool ideas of foolishly tomfoolery. You're so foolish you've even made me sound like a foolhardy fool. Very well, Mr. Phoenix Wright. If you're so sure, then tell us all about this line. I have conclusive evidence of what took place.
Yes. What about that line?
Well, if the note was meant for Regina Barry, it would mean that this note is declaring that Regina Barry is a murderer.
You just don't get it, do you?
What? What did you just say?
The ringmaster knew what the note meant, which is why he went to the plaza, in place of his lovely daughter. Hold it right there, Mr. Wright. What is this incident that is alluded to in the note? The incident 6 months ago. An incident occurred 6 months ago, and now I am more than ready to show this court what happened at that time. Moron! Wait, are you sure that it relates to the present case? Yep, it does, Your Honor. Everything in this case everything in this case has its start in what happened 6 months ago.
Really, Nick?
I think so.
Well then, if that's the case, hurry up and tell us all about it. What is this conclusive evidence mentioned in the note? I know I'd certainly like to know what it is.
If I can't answer that question, the judge is gonna think I'm bluffing. The conclusive evidence about the incident 6 months ago is actually... The conclusive evidence about the incident 6 months ago is actually... What? This is it? Well, I kind of figured that I'd try and get rid of evidence I didn't need anymore. Well, from now on, if you can do those sorts of things at home on your own time. Oh boy. The pepper. It's a seasoning bottle. Achoo! 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 Achoo!
What kind of spicy joke is this, Mr. Phoenix Wright?
It's not a joke at all. It's the decisive evidence you asked for. What do you mean? Recall that the victim was trying to take the wooden box away from him. He was doing so because this piece of decisive evidence was what was inside. Another unbelievable conclusion. Very well, Mr. Wright. So, what exactly are you saying? Are you claiming Regina Barry killed someone with a small bottle of pepper? Taking the note into account, that's the only logical conclusion you can draw.
Foolish fool who never tires of his own foolish ways. If you're so sure, Mr. Phoenix Wright, then answer this question. Who was Regina Barry's intended victim?
The one who died. Who's this? That is Acro's younger brother.
What does this prove? His younger brother isn't dead.
Technically, that's true. However, Bat has been in a coma for 6 months now. It's not a stretch to see how Acro would feel that his brother is dead. Regina, she did that to him?
Do you spend your entire life dreaming up new ways to be a fool? Naturally, the prosecution has looked into Acro's brother, Sean Dingling. 6 months ago, he was bit by a lion and fell into his current comatose state.
Lion?
Miss Regina Barry is an animal tamer by trade. However, no tamed animal in that position is ever trained to attack another human. They wouldn't understand the command. Moreover, Miss Regina could never have done something like that. It's just not in her.
Do we know that, though? So then what happened to Acro's brother?
He is not the victim of an attempted murder. He's the victim of an accident.
I see.
Now what do we do? No one seems to be going along with your theory. Do you think what happened to Bat was actually an accident?
Nah, there's got to be more to it than that. The lion biting Bat was no accident at all. What?
You're such an amateur, Mr. Phoenix Wright. There's no way that Regina would ever incite her lion to attack another human being.
Oh, do we know that for real? She may not have incited the lion to attack another human being, but Regina is responsible for making the lion bite Acro's brother, Bat. And that would be this. I used this prematurely. That's just a scarf. Acro. This scarf is something that Bat used to wear, correct? That's right. And who is the one that gave this scarf to Bat? Regina. Regina gave it to him. Regina! There is something more than just blood on the scarf, Your Honor. And that might be... Pepper. Pepper? Pepper. Regina gave the scarf to Bat right before the accident, and she covered it with as much pepper as she could. Hey, what's with the silent treatment?
Excuse me, Mr. Wright. You've done a good job of fingering a criminal. But out of curiosity, what was her crime? Miss Berry gave a pepper-covered scarf to Bat as a present. Where's the crime in that?
Still seems like the judge just doesn't get it. Oh, but Miss Von Karma does.
Mr. Phoenix Wright. Wasn't it said that the lion seemed to be smiling?
Smiling? The lion was smiling.
Right before Bat was bit by the lion. For a moment, the lion's mouth changed and it looked like he was smiling.
Lions smile?
Once again, felines in particular lack the capacity to actually smile. It's all in the eyes.
I've never heard of them smiling, however.
Lions sneeze.
What?
Leon wasn't trying to bite Bat at all. In reality, all he actually did was sneeze. Which means that poor lion died. He sneezed because of all the pepper on the scarf.
What?
You fool!
You've got to be kidding me! What's the matter, Miss Von Karma?
I object! For objection's sake!
Overruled.
Mr. Phoenix Wright, this theory, you believe it? You really intend to say that this is how this joke of an accident actually happened?
Of course I do. It's the truth. The lion sneezed due to the pepper, and that's when Bat lost consciousness. Acro nearly lost his brother due to this accident, or this joke, as you put it. Which is why he tried to get his revenge against Regina.
You foolish idiot!
It almost does seem like a terrible joke, doesn't it? Once again, I'm impressed by your imagination, Mr. Wright. To think that there's someone who treats this accident with the respect it deserves. Are you telling me that what I said was true?
Acro? You don't mean... You can't mean... Witness!
Are you confirming the defense's claim?
Mr. Wright, unfortunately, your imagination is not enough to find me guilty of murder. What do you mean by that? The pepper, the scarf, the lion. I see where you're going, but it is a bit hard to swallow. Not to mention the fact that there's an even bigger problem with your theory.
What would that problem be?
The same problem it's always been. Evidence. If I dropped Max's bust on top of the ringmaster, where's the evidence that proves that claim?
You mean the conclusive evidence?
The biggest problem is the murder weapon, or the lack thereof, to be more precise.
The murder weapon.
The bust that the defense claims was used. If that were to be found in Acro's room, and if it was covered with the victim's blood, that would be awfully conclusive in my eyes.
Yes, it would be.
The bust.
Nick, you've got to do something.
This is the last step. If I get this one right, the case is won. You know what? Let's see how things work out, because I am assuming Acro is smart enough to have disposed of the bust. Might be worthwhile to search Acro's room, but...
But why are you going to search his room? It looks like you finally figured things out, didn't you? Now you know the true meaning of Von Karma total justice.
I guess. I figured with you, that's the least I should expect. You'd leave no stone unturned.
A Von Karma never leaves anything to chance. We already searched Acro's room yesterday.
What did you find?
There's no reason to even say it. We found what you think we found in that room. Acro would not be here as a witness. But to put a point on it, Max's bust was not in the room. The murder weapon is still unaccounted for.
You see, Mr. Wright? The bust wasn't in my room.
Furthermore, Detective Dick Gumshoe executed the search by complete surprise. And we took Acro directly to the prosecutor's office after that. End of story.
Just wait a second. Something's funny about all this. It looks like you lack the final nail to put in my coffin. But, what about the scarf? What about the note? What about them, Mr. Wright? No offense, but the only evidence that is relevant here is which pertains to the death of the ringmaster. You should know by that. You should know that by now. Ugh!
Do something, Nick! Don't let this case slip away! The bust! Where is it now?
Where's the bust right now?
You're Phoenix Wright! You know where that bust is! I'm sure you do!
There's not even a single clue. How am I supposed to know where it is?
It seems this case is coming to a close. The defense's counter-argument looks to have fallen short.
Thank you for your support.
Ugh! I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Wright.
I think that brings to an end the cross-examination of this witness.
Ah! Where is Max's bust? The defense needs time to prepare to present its case. Sorry, I'm a bit nervous and I just kind of bit my tongue.
Huh? What? We need time to do what?
Why are you the most surprised person here? She's your aide, isn't she?
Do you have a case to present, Mr. Wright?
What? Are you asking me?
The rest is up to you, Nick. Good luck.
Hey, wait! You can't be serious.
Acrobats always have their lives on the lines, don't they? That's how Acro's lived his life up until now. Now it's time for us to walk across our own tightrope. If we don't, we're certain to lose.
Very well. The defense may proceed.
He doesn't have a clue. And I don't think he'll be finding one anytime soon. Walking a tightrope with logic. There's no room for a false step. Sink or swim. The only way out through is forward.
The murder weapon. Where is Max's bust now?
Oh! It's not in the lodging house because they checked it. It's not somewhere in the big top because we would have found it already. What if it's on his fucking wheelchair? And no one's noticed. Okay, I gotta try it. It's obvious the bust is inside this very courtroom.
It's obviously where?
Allow me to pinpoint the location of the busts once and for all. The witnesses stand. Acro, I'm sorry to ask this, but do you mind if I take the blanket off of your wheelchair? I'm sorry. I didn't quite hear you, Mr. Wright. Well, you are a big guy, and you have a pretty big wheelchair because of it.
I just wanted to make sure you weren't hiding anything under that blanket. Because it seems to me that it'd be real easy to say, hide a bust under there? Once again, your penchant for humor hits me where it hurts, Mr. Wright. I think it's pretty amazing that you can laugh in your position. However, your lightheartedness doesn't change the fact that the bust is under there. We all know that you can't leave the lodging house by yourself in your condition. That proved inconvenient when Miss Von Karma happened to search your room yesterday. If she had found the murder weapon in your room, it would have been all over. Which is why you had to hide it. In the only place that you could hide it. Under your wheelchair. Which is why, Acro, I have to ask you again. Would you please remove the blanket from your lap? Well done, Mr. Wright. Masterfully played. You fool! How could you? You've got me. I've been bagged by a real pro. Actually, 2 of them. 2 of them? Miss Francisca Von Karma and Mr. Phoenix Wright. What? There's just one thing I'd like to know. How did you know to launch the surprise search on my room last night? There were 2 pieces of decisive evidence, the cloak and the bust. I burned the cloak in my room and threw the ashes away with the trash. Regina always took my trash out every morning, you know. But the bust, obviously I couldn't throw that away. When you executed your search, all I could do was try and hide the bust. And the only place that I could hide it quickly was under this wheelchair. Miss Von Karma, you had things all figured out, didn't you? I was completely sucked in by your calculated strategy. And now, to be caught in the middle of a court hiding the murder weapon? There's no way I can escape that. So you've got me. Well done, Mr. Wright. Well done, Miss Von Karma.
It all makes sense now.
I can't believe that Von Karma thought that far ahead. It's amazing.
No, she fucking didn't. She absolutely fucking didn't. Uh-huh. You definitely couldn't tell by looking at her. I know I sure couldn't.
I can't believe it. Me? Make a mistake? Why did I order a surprise search of your room? If only I hadn't done that.
Seems we finally arrived at the truth. Acro?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you kill the ringmaster of the Berry Big Circus, Mr. Russell Barry?
Yes, Your Honor. I am responsible for that crime.
Acro?
All my brother wanted was for Regina to like him. That's why he'd tease her. One day, my brother sprinkled some pepper on Regina. She started sneezing so hard, you couldn't help yourself from laughing. That's why Regina thought it'd be funny to get him back in the same way. And that's why she covered the scarf with pepper. I know she didn't mean for anything bad to happen. I know this. She just wanted to make my brother sneeze a few times too. But I just couldn't forgive her no matter what. Yeah, because it was careless. What am I truly guilty of? I'm guilty of never ever being able to understand her. Your brother became a star. Regina believes in that so purely that she would laugh innocently when saying it. Too innocently. I just couldn't stand it, no matter how hard I tried. That's when you decided to do something about Regina. How dreadful.
So are you saying that you are a victim in all of this as well?
No, that's not what I mean. Aw, I'm nothing but a murderer. That's who I am. At first, I thought I'd kill myself. Then I pondered giving myself up. But I couldn't just up and leave. I just couldn't. Not yet. That's why I tried to pin this on Max. Max, I'm so sorry. I just couldn't up and leave yet.
This has been such a strange case. It's almost a reflection of the circus itself.
I'm an idiot! I can't believe it! You beat me again! And he's not saying anything because he's not stupid.
I believe this case is now beyond any point of possible discussion. Thus, I'd like to declare my verdict.
Not guilty. I didn't actually expect this case to end here. But hooray!
This court is adjourned.
Whew! But yeah, no, seriously, I expected at least 2 more episodes after this. But apparently not. In increasing the size and the length of the trial, they've shortened the episodes, I guess. December 30th, 4:27 p.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby number 5. And just in time to help finish cleaning up the office.
Fabulous! But to be honest, I can't really be too happy about this.
Acro, the ringmaster, Regina, and Bat. Not a single one of them was a bad person inside, huh?
That's a good question. And one I don't know the answer to.
Many congrats! But only at max 1,000,000 of them.
Wow.
Thank you.
What's with the vibe in this room? They're just thinking about Acro. No. If you worry about people too much, then you'll be like this forever and never be happy. Huh? She's been like this for a while now. It's all my fault.
Sweetie pie.
Pat and Acro, they're never coming back. Now everyone's gonna split up. Regina, Mr. Wright, tell me something.
Well, what do you want to know, Regina?
Acro said something right at the end.
I just couldn't up and leave yet.
Does that mean that Acro, he was gonna try and get his revenge on me?
No. That's not what that means. His initial thought was to take an out. He's not gonna do that to you, Regina.
Are you sure? Are you really sure? I can believe that?
Yep. Acro doesn't have any desire for revenge anymore.
If that's true, then I want to see some evidence.
Huh?
I want to know you're not just making up that stuff about Acro not wanting revenge.
Acro didn't want to get caught, for a reason. He wanted to see his brother open his eyes again.
Bat? That's right, Regina. He's still alive, you know. I never knew. But now that Acro's been caught. Uh-huh. I know. What? I'll do it. I'll stay next to Bat as long as it takes. Until he opens his eyes, and then until he can meet and then again until he opens his eyes, and then until he can meet Acro again.
That's so sweet of you, Regina.
I'm sorry, Acro. I'm sorry, Dad.
Well, hopefully this is enough to give her a little peace of mind.
Hey, Max.
What is it, Mo?
We really put you through a lot, didn't we, buddy? I'm sorry about what happened. So whenever you'd like to leave us, I'll pay your fee and rip up the contract.
I understand. What a fabulous thing to do for me. I might even leave tonight. What's going to happen to the circus now, though?
Well, that's the big question now, isn't it? Our ringmaster was really an amazing person, wasn't he? Even though he's not here anymore, everyone's sticking together. The staff, the performers, no one wants to leave the circus. That's why I've made a decision.
What is it?
I've decided that I will take over as the new ringmaster. I'll turn this circus into the best circus this world has ever seen.
The best circus the world has ever seen?
Don't laugh.
That's quite the goal.
Yay, I can't wait.
Then I guess that changes things.
Huh?
There's only one thing the best circus the world has ever seen needs. The world's best illusions. Which means the circus needs the best magician the world has ever seen.
Max?
Let's work together and make our circus super fabulous. What do you say, big guy?
I don't know what to say. All I can say is thank you.
Regina, you're gonna help them out too, aren't you?
I don't know. Maybe the circus would be better off without me. What are you talking about, Regina? Why do you think that I brought you to court today? We've got to work together to make the very big circus bigger than it's ever been. Mo?
Mo's right, sweetie pie. It can't be the very big circus without Regina Berry.
Max? Nick?
Seems like everything is going to turn out all right here.
I can't wait to see the best circus the world has ever seen.
We'll save you the most fabulous seats.
It'll take us a while to get ready, but I'm gonna order a special whoopee cushion seats.
You're still not funny, dude. I see. What made the case?
Yesterday's surprise raid really paid off, just like you said it would, Soy. You had it all figured out, didn't you?
It was just a theory. If Acro really was the killer, I thought this was the only way it could end. Especially if he was the defense attorney.
You mean Mr. Wright?
Of course. Well, Detective, my plane is about to leave. As for Mr. Acro's case, you need not worry. I plan to personally stop by the Chief Prosecutor's office as soon as I get back.
Understood, sir. I'll be waiting for you, Mr. Edgeworth.
Yeah, he's the one who ordered the surprise raid.
Nice.
Farewell, my Turnabout has been unlocked, and it's got a picture of Edgeworth, which means hopefully he will feature into it. Woohoo! So, we managed to solve the mystery. Acro was the killer all along. It was pretty masterful. And on top of that, we got some masterful behind-the-scenes actions from none other than Edgeworth, who has been sorely missed throughout this episode, I must admit. Yeah, I guess that's really all I can say about it. I mean, it sucks because Regina, she was doted on and spoiled and so sheltered
that she took a careless action and it resulted in somebody getting hurt. Well, 2 people getting hurt, rather. And in the end, she lost her father over it. So that's really sad. I hope that she can take this lesson to heart and potentially learn from it. And it's nice to see Max is actually going to start working with the people in the circus rather than his own pompous pride, though, to be fair, that attitude probably isn't going to change for a long while. I can't wait to see what Phoenix's reaction is to seeing Edgeworth back, because he's been so shut down about Edgeworth's disappearance or his sudden vanishing that, yeah, I don't know. He definitely needs some catharsis. And the fact that Gumshoe is sort of in on the whole thing, that's kind of great. He's usually the one that's left out in the cold, but now he actually has the secret. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I can't really say anything more than that because I'm just going to start rambling. But we won't get to start that until next time. So until then, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like or subscribe. If not, leave a comment below letting me know what I can do to improve. And until the next time, guys. Ciao.